Now let's go over Leroy's move list. I want to talk a little bit about everything that's in here just to make mention of what's good and what's not. Just so you've seen it before and you can decide for yourself which ones you like and which ones you don't. You got a lot of moves that you don't really need, but they're cool enough in action that you're going to want to just have them just to like forge your own style out of this character. The first thing in the move list is 1-1, 1+2-1. That whole thing is the first move. Now this needs to be a counter hit. You can see right away that 1-1 is not natural. Right away, that's not a natural combo. So you'd have to go for this all the way through, which can get ducked, and the last hit is going to be launch punishable. So you could, in theory, go for this part of it, and then once you see it connect, let the whole thing rip, but it's a lot to risk. But it is a cool move. Like at this point, I know I have it. I can just press the button. So you can do it, but just be wary that you will pay the price if they're, you know, on top of what you're doing. But if you vary the timing, just single jabs and occasionally do this. Like, you know they're trying to pit bull you, and you know you're going to get that counter hit. You can do 1-1, both, and then get the follow-up. A lot of his strings that do have this multiple punching thing in them makes it easier for him to hit confirm. You have enough time to press your follow-up so you can make the read or not without him to take the real risk. His other punch strings, he's got the 1-2, and we talked about 1-2-4 in the open as his natural punisher. He also has 1-2-3, which is a high that causes a screw attack if they happen to be airborne, and 1-2-1, which has a bit of a delay in it. Counter hit does nothing, which is kind of weird, because you feel like that would be worth something. The whole idea that this is a high and this is a high, one of them should have like a trick built into it. And the fact that this one is delayable, I don't know, there's nothing there. But this is safe on block anyway. If they feel like ducking, they can, but you're using this to keep their duck honest. So it's a little bit of a mix-up option, but not the best or the worst. Leroy is not a character that has mix-up strings. Let's get that straightforward right now. There is not like the third hit is either a mid or a low all over this character. It's very, very little of these. So if you do want to use these high strings and they start ducking, you have a mid to back it up. That's it at best. He's not a character built that way. His advantage is built on the timing of his strings and how far he carries it. 2 jabs. He has 2-2, which we covered in his punishers. 12 frame natural combo. And he has 2-1-2-1. As you can see, only the first 2 hits are natural. So you can throw out 2-1-2. This is only -7. This will be completely safe. It's another high. I mean, they can anticipate ducking. But if you get used to the rhythm, you know, just 2-1 and throw out 2-1-2s, eventually they want to start counterattacking you. And if you get the third hit, the last hit will launch on counter hit. So good luck landing that, but it does exist. If you can screw with their rhythm enough, you might catch that every so often. 3-3. Double mid-low kick. This you can hit confirm. It's a little quick, but you should be able to do it. You can see there's a delay there, and it's still natural. He's set to guard all. And I have all day to press that. So 3-3 is mid-low, natural combo, confirmable, +2 on hit. So you get to continue your advantage there. Really good move. 4-4 is pretty similar, except it goes high-mid. This one you cannot hit confirm at all. You have to let it rip. And it's going to be -14 on block. So you want to be careful with that one. It doesn't really seem to get you anything for the risk that you're going to take. Just a little poke. In the name of that, I'd rather just do something like this and get a mix-up. I don't know. 4-4 doesn't seem to be super good, in my opinion. There's no counter-hit properties that I'm aware of. Damn it. Anyway, I don't think there is one. Yeah, see, there's nothing. He doesn't have a magic 4 at all. So 4-4 is kind of useless, in my opinion. But that gets made up for this next move. 1+2, 1+2-1. Saw this in the 14 frame Punisher section. The first set right away, this is only -6. So you could just throw this out all day. And if you're quick enough, you can see that that hits, and then do the whole rest of the string, and you're good. But even if you're not quick enough, you could do both the first 2 parts, 1+2, 1+2, because that part is only -9. You're still safe. But again, highs. These things are always highs. They could be ready to duck that at a moment's notice, which I feel like at higher levels, playing against Leroy, you're going to know any of these bop punches, you start ducking. So you want to get used to training yourself to just throwing out the first set, and as soon as you see it connect, finish the rest like that. You do have the luxury to get used to hit confirming by doing the second hit, but you do want to speed it up a little bit and confirm off the first. You do have time. So that's a 14 frame, got 56 damage. Yeah, crazy good damage off of that. Fantastic move. His next attack out of neutral buttons is Sugar. Sugar comes out and sometimes attacks them, sometimes not. It's kind of a probability thing. I don't think there's a way to control it. Even Harada said there's a probability that Sugar won't do anything. There we go. It is a low, but like, you got all day to react to this. I don't know how practical it is. Maybe it's just more of like a wall setup kind of thing. You know, if you get a good, you know, flip over knockdown at the wall, you can call Sugar and, you know, trap them with it. I don't know. It's just a nice little gimmick, but it might have its uses out there. Someone will find it on Twitter sooner or later. So forward input moves. He's only got a couple here. He's got a string with forward 2, 3, 4. We mentioned this in Hermit. This is not a natural combo, but if you catch the counter hit, it will connect. Oh, no, it won't. Ooh, I thought it was. Anyway, this has got good frame advantage when you get into Hermit, so if you do get him to bite on that 4, that's great news. So what you do in order to force that is just do forward 2, 3 by itself. Like we mentioned before, you mess with the rhythm of them anticipating how many punches you're going to do. So forward 2, 3 is decent enough. This is only minus 10 or minus 11, I think. Minus 10. Just get used to this, and they want to start challenging you, or they want to try to step out of the way. Then you throw in that third hit, and if it does land, you get nice advantage in a Hermit mix-up. Forward 3, 1 plus 2, 4. It's a lot of... This guy's notation is kind of weird because there are double buttons in the middle of everything. So let's just take a look at that again, right here. This is the exact same string as his while standing 3, so you're going to see it twice. Forward 3, then the 1 plus 2, and the 4. And as I mentioned, anytime you have these quick punches, that's enough time to hit confirm. So it's not natural on its own right there. You can see they're blocking, but on counter hit it is. So you have enough time to realize, oh, I got him with that. Let me press the 4, and it's all guaranteed. So 55 damage, also very, very good off of that. This is a high, as always, and they can duck it, but it's only minus 6. So unless you have an opponent that's ready to duck your punches at all times, these are generally pretty safe. And in case you're counter hit, you get the whole string. Forward 4, 4 looks like that. Double roundhouse kicks. This is also hit confirmable. This is natural. Hit confirmable. They will duck. It's mid-high. So this one you definitely better learn to hit confirm. They're going to get used to that kick. The thing about Leroy, though, is he does have several kicks that look pretty similar. Forward 4 is a pretty similar looking kick to just forward 4. There's differences, yeah, but there's a lot of, like, similarity in his movements. So they will get used to seeing this kick and start ducking it. It wouldn't hurt for you to have a frame of mind of fighting against Wang from Tag 2, because there's a lot of stuff that this character is like. Wang's, what is it, back 3-4, I think? It's exactly the same move. You're going to duck it, except Wang couldn't hit confirm it and Leroy could. So you're going to see similarities. If you know how to fight Wang in the last game, you'll take to Leroy pretty well. Forward 4-4 is still a really great move because you do get that hit confirm, the wall splat, screw attack, and all that. The second hit by itself, if it counter hits, will screw. So keep that in mind too. If you want to do the same trick, just throw out one thing to get him anticipating incorrectly and catch him with a button, you'll get a combo. The next forward input is forward 3 plus 4, where he does this. This just has a parry while he's taking these steps forward. And if you keep holding forward, he goes into this unblockable. So that's a weird little thing. I'm not quite sure exactly how good this is, because he's got several other ways to parry, and I think most of them are better than this, but it does exist. And he doesn't parry until his hands are in place and starts walking. So it's a very long startup. But that's there if you wanted to kind of style on people with it. It does exist. Down forward inputs. This is where we start getting into your mid poke territory. He has a down forward 1-1 and a 1-4. Kind of like Geese Howard has the same situation. One's high, one's mid. 1-1's pretty good. This is +5 on hit, which isn't bad at all. And down forward 1-4, this is natural, goes into Hermit. This is probably going to be one of your most universal ways to go to Hermit, because it's your basic, 13 frame mid poke. You catch them. Just keep in mind, if you hit them, it's your turn. If it gets blocked, you better back out. Down forward 1-4 is pretty good. You can end wall carry combos with this. Use this to get the last bit of the wall and then use a Hermit attack for spikes or whatever. This is a pretty good all-around option. Down forward 1-4. Down forward 2, 1 plus 2 is this 15 frame launcher. We mentioned that earlier. This is super bad on block, like 18. This is like Julia's twisting arrow cannon. You're going to pay the price if you're wrong with this. But it's good for just a sidestep and catching. You better be correct, though. Down forward 3-1. This is pretty decent too. They're very rarely going to have time to duck this. This move is really fast and hard to predict. You can't confirm this on a counter hit because it gets blocked for whatever reason. So it's another thing. If you just do this string all day and get them baited into counterattacking you, then the follow-up will finish them. That's the bulk of this character, as I mentioned before, is them not being able to predict when you're done attacking. If you just do this one move by itself all day, and all of a sudden start throwing in the follow-up, they're going to have no idea how to catch your timing. You start hitting them with lows, they're going to have no idea. And that's when you can kind of get away with throwing out the finishers to strings without them being any the wiser. Down forward 4, this is the same kick, just by itself without the punch in front of it. Down forward 4 to Hermit. Get your nice mix-up on hit, back off on block. And this also has its own follow-up, down forward 4-3. It doesn't go into Hermit. Safe on block, but not a natural combo. It's just another thing to mess with their rhythm. And the last option is down forward 1+2, which is his armored wall bounce. That seemed to be all the rage in Season 3. Every character's wall bounce move is now a power crush. This is no different. This is pretty fast on startup. Bounces off the wall. -14. That's most characters are like that at this point. If their wall bounce is now also armored, -14 is pretty much what you get. This is his only power crush move. So keep that in mind. The only one he's got is a substantial risk. But this is a character that's loaded with parries too, so you don't need to worry about that as much. Down inputs. We talked about earlier his duck jab, his down 1 duck jab has a whole string, down 1, 2, 4. And if you catch the counter hit, you get the whole thing into a Hermit mix-up. So that's pretty good for a duck jab. It's not Season 2 Geese, but it's pretty good. Down 1, 2, 4. Otherwise it does get blocked into Hermit, and you're at a disadvantage, but you can still do what you need to do. Down 2, 4 is a double low, not a natural combo on its own, but the 4 is pretty delayable. 4 is in fact super delayable. So if you're kind of just messing with them a little bit, and they're not ready, they'll either forget to block that second low, or they might challenge you, and you counter hit by the second low. You get follow-ups. I don't think you can pull a full combo out of that. You can do something like that. I'm not sure yet. I don't think you can pick them back up. They drop, but you get follow-ups. Down 3-2, as I mentioned, is my favorite way to go into Hermit. This is low-high. They're never going to see it coming. But if they happen to be ducking by default, this is going to miss them entirely, and you're going to get roasted. So be aware of that. If you have an opponent that likes to just, throw out a jab and then duck on you, be careful. Otherwise, this is the best way into Hermit. It's going to be free damage, and you have a significant frame advantage whenever you get in there. Down 4-4, as I mentioned, is the opposite. If they block this, because it's not a natural combo, you can get punished straight up out of Hermit. So not the best one. I think down 3-2 is way better in my opinion. Down 1+2 is this guy. Superb range on this. Look at that thing. This is like range 3 and I'm hitting them with this thing. It is a counter hit launcher. Bounces them right up in the air. This is 0 on block and +6 on hit. So that is a fantastic move. Can't get enough of this guy. You're going to be using this all day to oppress people. So his down back inputs consist of 1-3 and 1+2. Down back 1-3 looks like this. Natural combo with a high finisher. Down back 1+2 is a mid. It's not natural. This isn't... It's one of those things where if they start ducking this, you have the mid to back it up. But I feel like this isn't a risk you want to take all the time. I wouldn't just want to do this in neutral for you do get ducked. But I got to say that this is safe. So if you do want to keep them honest by using this option, that mid is safe. So you could just do this all day. And once they kind of, are stuck in there, then you can switch to this, mix it up a little bit. Down back 3, 1+2 on the other hand, is a hell sweep. This is going to knock them down, do the damage, and send them flying. And like all hell sweeps, it's launch punishable, coming and going, so you do not want to be wrong. This is a stagger block, and if you happen to whiff with the low, that is 16. So be careful there, but like any character with a hell sweep or good lows like this, you can't live your life in fear of it getting blocked. You have to just go for it sometimes. So he's got a hell sweep with down back 3, 1+2. Down back 4 is a much quicker little pokey low. This is -14, which isn't the best, but better than getting launched by half the cast. And on counter hit, you do get a little follow-up action, looks like this. I'm not sure what to get there. I cannot pick that up for a combo. I feel like it's the same knockdown as the other one. because that drops right there. That's not going to work. They can tech roll that. So I'm not sure if you can get a combo. There might be one tiny little way to do it. Otherwise, you do get some follow-up damage off of this counter hit. Crushes highs pretty well. The down back 4 is decent. You do get nice damage off of it, especially when you get the counter hit at the risk of -14. His last down back option is 1+2, which Wang players, again, will recognize tons of stuff like this. Got a little bit of a wind-up to it, but that's because it's a Sabaki parry. If they go after you, in the middle of you winding up, it'll stuff them. Let me just show you what that looks like as well. Bang. So 25 damage, as opposed to like the 30 damage you would have gotten on its own. Oh, it's 25 on normal hit. Okay, so you still get the damage otherwise. It is a nice knockdown. This is -11 on block, which isn't too bad. It's not the best option in my opinion because he does have a more generic parry that you can just use like, willingly. So you're just doing this hoping they go for it, but either way, it's kind of cool. You feel awesome when you hit people with stuff like that, and they feel humiliated that they fell for it. So it's a cool move, but it's not the best move. Just keep in mind it's one of the several parries that he has, and you never want to be predictable. So if you parry them several different ways, they're going to like not be sure how to mess up their timing, because some of his parries work on knees and elbows, and some of them don't. So if they try to resort to those tactics, you have another counter against them. Remember that part. Back inputs. He has back 1, which just like Old Feng here on counter hit, has a little extra property. You get this. You don't have to dash up and shoulder, but you basically just get 50 damage for free if you counter hit him with an 11 frame back 1. That's only -6 on block. Even on normal hit, this is +5. That's tremendous frame advantage for just an 11 frame poke like that. And counter hit, taking him for 50, that's fantastic. Gotta love it. So that's his back 1. His back 3 is a natural launcher. Causes an automatic screw attack. This is a high, but it's homing, so pretty good move to have. If you're at the right range and you know you got a whiff punish coming, this is one of the quicker ways to do it. You can get all kind of damage off of that. Back 4 is basically the same kick, but it's mid. 3 is a high, 4 is a mid. Homing, about the same speed. Back 3 is 18 frames, back 4 is 17. So a 17 frame safe homing mid is a pretty good move. You gotta love that. Back 3 is a launcher at the trade of being able to get ducked, so just keep that in mind. Back 1+2, he's got that little 1-inch power punch number. This is 12 frames on startup. This is super duper fast, and you guessed it, on counter hit, launcher. So the problem with this is it does have teeny tiny little range, but it's best used for interrupting strings. If there's a string with a gap in it, this will stuff that pretty clean. Or if you know an opponent is super aggressive and they're going to keep coming at you with jabs and short moves, this will stuff that pretty well because it's so fast. Just be warned that its range is subpar and you might end up missing here and there. Up input. Leroy has an up forward 1, which seems kind of, I don't know, an afterthought. It kind of looks like a generic down forward 1. It's just like a slightly better version of it, really. It hits him a little bit harder. Nothing miraculous, but it's there. Up forward 2, on the other hand, he does a little short hop into that punch, which wall bounces. Great move. Just a great move all around. Why is that? Because this is +1 on block. That's just fantastic. A mid that's +1. So much good stuff there. So much good stuff. And keeping them under your frame advantage is also a nice touch. He is airborne, he'll jump over lows for a brief startup too. So up forward 2, great move. Up forward 3 is his little lunging dive kick, exactly like Leo or Kazuya. Gets them airborne, mid attack, safe on block, causes wall splat. So that's a nice little option too for resetting at the wall. You're taking no risk with it, you're avoiding their low get up kick, etc. Up forward 4, he's got an orbital heal, just like Shaheen and Brian. Slower, but it's a natural launcher, and it's like -3 on block at worst. Yeah, -3. Pretty damn good. No one's going to be able to react to this and see it coming. It's not that slow. Pretty damn good move. I say any safe launcher is worth it, especially one that low crushes. So that's up forward 4, and then up forward 3+4, 1+2 does that. So you can kind of just learn that first part by itself. These can kicks. That's up forward 3 plus 4. And then 1 plus 2 finishes the string. This is how you're going to end combos. And pretty much nothing else, because these 2 kicks are -10, and the follow-up is -13, which you can't hit confirm. So there's no point in going for this attack when you have several other things that you can hit confirm, like that do way more damage and take less risk in general. So that is there mostly to end combos and for the supreme style points that it grants. Forward inputs. Leroy's got a couple of these that are also very interesting. We mentioned forward 2-2 as his long-range whiff punisher. Look at that. That's a significant range again. That's at least range 3. He takes such a step forward, and then seems like to have this phantom punch hit loss. As I mentioned, this will punish Heihachi's forward 2 demon uppercut. A lot of the cast can't even touch him for that. This works. So 16 frame startup at its fastest, meaning you have to forward the instant your block recovery is out to count it at 16. Which is doable. I mean, once you learn stuff like that, Julia players learn how to do Party Crasher at 12 or whatever it is. They learn how to do the forward 3 at 14 frames. Skill worth having. Especially once you learn that like matchups can benefit from it. If you're fighting Heihachi, you're going to want to punish him every time he does that. It's absolutely worth learning that skill, and it's not super hard to do. On its own, it's -13, so it's not the best to just be throwing out, but I can imagine worse, honestly. 13 is not the end of the world for getting punished, for taking a chance. But this character's got a lot of tools that he can confirm and just stay safe options and live to fight another day. Forward 3. This is a homing high kick that is also +1 on block. Gets you some free follow-up stuff, too. This is very good. Really good move all around. The only downfall is it being a high, but he just lunges over that whole screen and it's homing. So anyone that's back here just, dance and try to keep away from you, bang, right in the teeth. Taking some gators right in the teeth. That's a really good catch him off guard move. Covers fantastic range and beats sidestepping. Forward 4 we mentioned as one of the better ways to get into Hermit because you get excellent frame advantage. You're +9 when you transition to Hermit. And also has its own follow-up. This should be a natural combo, but -14 if they block it. Kind of reminds me of the Marduk string, the way he ends combos now. Little decent wall carry, except it's kind of stubby. So this is just there as part of your will he finish the string, won't he situation. And by the time they realize you didn't finish the string and you're in Hermit, you're getting caught. That's mostly what it's for. Forward 1+2 is this tiny little elbow. Doesn't seem like it does much. It does wall splat. And then this is a safe mid. Forward 1+2. It's an elbow, doesn't get parried by most characters, and it's safe on block. That turns out to be pretty good. Any mid that knocks them down that's safe, go for it. While running 3, pretty straightforward. Nice animation. They should be able to tech roll that back, nothing special there. What else does he have? While standing moves, we mentioned 4 is just a generic 11 frame. While standing 1-4. This is basically the same string as his down forward 1-4. You're going to go into Hermit, it's natural combo, into Hermit mix-up. Just about the same thing. While standing 3, we mentioned is the same as, what's it called? It's got a cool name. Strike of the 5 precepts. This. You can hit confirm that. It's not going to work as a punish. This is 13 on startup, but this is not natural. Or, yeah, he's not set to block. Sorry. See, that's not natural. But if you do catch him with the counter hit, you can see it coming and then press the 4 kick. But for 13, that's pretty good. If you want to just jab and then like duck and get ready to counter hit him with that, that'll work pretty well. His other while standing 2, as we mentioned, is 15. Natural launcher, despite looking a little weird. It's a different animation, but all it does is cause a basic crumple stun. Nothing fancy about it. And then from full crouch, he has 4-1. This is mostly reminiscent of Wang having down 4-1. That triple spin kick thing Wang could do and then end up in the punch launcher. This is not natural. It needs to be a counter hit, and it's -13 on block. He can't do it from anywhere else. It has to be from full crouch. This character just doesn't have a lot of things that leave him in full crouch, whereas Wang could build a house in full crouch city. he was constantly in a crouching state. One of the best ways, I think, for me is this down 2-4 string we talked about. Since this isn't a natural combo, you have to at least delay it to keep them from, you know, just blocking it. But if you do this and then stop for just a second and then go low again, that's a really good trick to catch people. Use the full crouch state here and then do down forward 4-1 from that. They are expecting the low, it didn't come, so they move on with their life, and then here comes that low counter hit. That's one of the better ways to do it, because, as I said, he doesn't have a ton of ways to go into full crouch states. Not his strong point, but they do exist. What else we got? Sidestep moves. We got one good sidestep move. Looks like Paul and Geese. Just stomp your ankles real quick. Very nice move. +4 on hit, which is substantial, and only -12 on block. You gotta like that a lot. This one also on counter hit seems to give a free follow-up. I'm not sure if they can tech out of this either. It seems like they're in an animation that's fairly unique. Like, I don't know if they can block that or not. The kind of animation where you fall to the ground and snap back up, you can block during that. And like nosebleeds, you can tech to the ground. This, I'm not honestly sure. I haven't been able to fully test it out. But be aware that you do have significant frame advantage if that catches them on counter hit. Because this isn't the typical grabbing your ankles either. A lot of lows in Tekken 7, especially from Season 2 on, they'll do the hop thing and grab their foot, and they can block during that, for the most part. This is not the same animation, so I feel like this might actually be legit frame option or frame advantage, where you can get that for free. I'll have to find out with 2 controllers and a person or whatever. But keep that in mind. Sidestep 4, super good. On counter hit, potentially amazing. The last thing that we need to talk about is his basic attacks are this. Boom, look at that. That is down forward 2+3. This is a mid, natural launcher that's +8 on block. Why is this not just super broken? Ask yourself, because you can only do it once per match. It even says it in the move list. Once you've done this, it will not come out again. You can only do this once. Because this is just an amazing move. It's almost like a hidden rage drive, honestly. This is what rage drives usually do. They cause launchers out in the open. Or they do things like this. Cause spikes when you're already out in the open. This feels just like a rage drive. Look at that. 68. You turn 68 damage off of this guy by using this move your one time. Out in the open, it's good. It's super good because it's got range and all of that. I mean, you can't say enough about this move other than you only get to do it one time. You better pick a good choice, or else you're going to waste what is a fantastic move. I feel like walls are a good choice for it too, because it's going to cause that spike, like you see here. You can do that and then get follow-up damage and just wreck them at the wall. The last move that he has that we didn't really talk about is his basic parry. He has back 2. This is kind of like Leo, where it just parries the attack and you have to press buttons to follow up. It's not a basic reversal like Fang would have. You do this and he absorbs the attack and you press a button to finish. It's reminiscent of Wang, again, in his neutralizer, because if you just parry, if you just do nothing, it'll parry the entire string with some limits. Let's try... He parries the entire thing. And you just press 1 or 2 to do that follow-up at the end. Yeah. A little too late. In some cases like that, you can do it soon. As soon as you parry the first hit, you can start to follow up. Sometimes this will backfire. If they do something real quick, you might not have time to interrupt. Wang would experience that too. You couldn't always launch, because sometimes the follow-up hit would beat you to the punch. You're going to have to experiment with certain strings. You're not going to be able to do this in the middle of every string, like that, but you can for a lot of cases. I can only parry the third hit if I want to. I can wait to see them coming and then decide to parry in the middle. It's very fast. I want to guess this is probably a 6-frame parry, like Leo's is. Good enough to stop most strings like that and then be able to counterattack them. This also works on shoulders. I can't do that in the middle, can I? No, I can't. That string's already got me locked. I can, if I parry the first one, I got it. I cannot parry that third one. It's too tight. Okay, so there you go. That's going to tell you there's a limit to this. It does have startup. You can't always miracle out of things. But for the most part, if you got a slow follow-up to your string, This is going to be able to let you parry in the middle of it, and you can just do it one time and parry the entire string, and then hit your follow-up afterward. That's a really, really good parry. Works on elbows and headbutts and shit like that too. So this is super good. The only drawback being is if you do parry and try to counterattack, if you mistime it against the wrong string, you can get hit out of it. Otherwise, fantastic. So that parry is really what rounds it all out. He's got several kinds of parries. He's got lots of poking attacks with a rhythm to it, that if they can't feel out your rhythm, and like when you're going to attack and stop attacking, they're never going to get around on you, and you're going to constantly be on them with your hermit mix-ups and things that have super good frame advantage and a good arsenal of low pokes. So that's it. You got to learn a little bit of everything. You don't want to get yourself confused. You do not want to ever end up in hermit stance accidentally. You want to be prepared for that. You want to know every time you do a string that ends in 4, here comes hermit, and be prepared. Did it hit them? If it did, then you can go for a mix-up. But did they block it? You might want to just parry their counterattack or sidestep out of the way or whatever it might be. So you got to be familiar with the character like anyone else, but he's got a lot of hit confirms. A lot of things that are actually relatively easy to confirm and get just grips of damage off of. So absolutely learn those. Things like that, 1 + 2, 1 + 2, 1. Learn that confirm, forward 4, 4, 3, 3, etc. Once you learn those, you don't even have to take the risks anymore. You're going to get all kinds of damage off of them. And then you can start moving into the territory where you might want to take a couple of risks and catch some napping.